Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about 10 of the videos? Another paid request. This time for Fadi. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Jackie Chan's First Strike from 1996, which I would say is one of my favorite Jackie Chan films. I don't know where I would place it. Because I know up there would be Operation Condor and Rumble in the Bronx. And I really like Rush Hour 2, Super Cop. Quite a few films up there, but it would definitely be in my top 10. Granted, part of it's nostalgia, because I did grow up with the film. I've said this before, but I first heard of Jackie Chan. There was a trailer for this film called Rumble in the Bronx. And I'm like, okay, this looks fun, and wait, he does his own stunts? What? And I'm really enjoying that film on video. And I also remember seeing this ABC special about Jackie Chan. You see The Last Action Hero, and pretty much throughout the program talking about, this guy doing his own stunts and the injuries he sustained because of it. I think that's when he was in the middle of getting ready he was in the middle of filming Jackie Chan's First Strike, where that film was going to come out. And he just enjoying. It was Rumble in the Bronx, Super Cop, this one, and Operation Condor. Those were the four films that really got me into Jackie Chan movies. And so those are, for his filmography, I feel the closest to, in a weird way. And he's done other good stuff too. Who Am I is an underrated one. The first Police Story and the second one. I even like the one Rennie Harlan did called Skip Trace with Jackie Chan and Johnny Knoxville. I like Shanghai Noon. I like Rush Hour 1 and 2, especially Rush Hour 2. But this is of that early realm that I watch, I just, nostalgic fond memories are brought up to the brain here, even as I'm watching it. Now, it's directed by Stanley Tong, funny enough, who did Rumble in the Bronx and Super Cop. So, out of those four films I mentioned, Stanley Tong directed three of them. His career kind of faltered because after this stuff, he did Mr. Magoo with Leslie Nielsen, which I don't remember a single thing about that, but that film was a huge bomb. It pretty much killed his chances in Hollywood. And then later on, he would do a couple Jackie Chan films I'm not a fan of. Kung Fu Yoga, and what was it, Vanguard. Was not a fan of those at all. So, but it's one of those things where if you watch this for the plot, you're gonna hate it. Because, okay, Jackie Chan's a Hong Kong cop, he's working with the CIA, and then he's on this case of following this girl, and it's something to do with the Russian mafia, and they want nuclear weapons, and this one guy is a scientist, and he was CIA, but he's a double agent, and the reason he's a double agent is because his sister was in trouble, so Jackie's trying to find the guy's sister, and then her dad dies. At least in the New Line Cinema version, they say it was her dad, and he's blamed for it. To be honest, the plot really isn't important in this. If people don't like his, I could understand perfectly. The plot, I wouldn't say it's nonsensical, but it's just, you get into the I don't give a fuck status. But what the film did well was that's just the bare minimum of skeleton. They hang on these really good set pieces of action and stunt work and Jackie Chan flavor, and that's really what it is. It's an excuse to have these Jackie Chan set pieces. In that essence, it works very well. Also, it's got a cool trailer where Optimus Prime himself narrates the trailer, Peter Collins. Really well edited trailer, really gets you pumped up. And I do remember seeing that trailer back in the day. I'm like, I want to see that movie. And what was the he said? For the first time, fights for America. What I mean by the set pieces is, for example, early on, some dude would get in the suitcase, and yeah, these bad guys hiding in the snow in white. Jackie has to fight them, and you got snowmobiles hitting and skidding his back, and he falls to the ground. You got him grabbing the suitcase the bad guys want and snowboarding down the mountain. And this is definitely their take on James Bond. I mean, that even gets mentioned a few times that he feels like he's James Bond, except without all the girls around. And of course, there's like On Her Majesty's Secret Service and other stuff where you have these great skiing sequences. Here is Jetty snowboarding. You can tell it's him doing it all along. Very dangerous work. And then not only is he snowboarding, but he's got to go off a cliff, hang onto a helicopter. Something comes, blows up the helicopter. He's got to fall into this freezing water. It's some pretty damn dangerous stunt work. Again, it's either the stunts and action scenes or it's Jackie's comedy sensibilities that make this film work on what it's supposed to do. Because if you're talking about the bad guys, if you're talking about the dubbing, if you're talking about the plot, does it falter? Sure. But it's fun. I know the New Line Cinema, they cut out like 20 minutes of footage. More than likely to just get to the action scenes quicker. And I can understand that. I don't blame them for it. Because I remember seeing the longer cut of Operation Condor and thinking, other than there's a couple fight scenes that were extended in it. There's a bit of a wind tunnel that was extended. I wish that was back in. But the rest of it, I could see why it was cut out. This, again, I never saw that version, so I don't know how different it is and stuff. But even with that said, I still like the New Line Cinema version. And it's very short too. Like you can tell, like when it gets to the credits where it shows the goofs and the mistakes, I'm looking at the time. I'm like, it's like an hour and 17 minutes or so. Like this, because they cut that bit out. It's a pretty short film, pretty short movie. In and out very quickly, and you do have Jackie Chan's humor, whether it be early on when he's cold, he's got to put on this like fake baby seal white hat on. There's a bit where a guy is making him undress because there's wires on him. Keep singing, and he's saying, "I will follow you wherever you may go." And he has this like weird, ugly, like koala underwear, and he's forced to undress. Oh, man. And then these girls come by, this tour guide of women. He's trying to cover them. And then one of them starts singing that song and taking pictures. Now, of course, if it was a bunch of guys taking pictures of a naked girl in the same situation, we'd be called sexist. But if it's the other way around, then it's perfectly fine. It's funny. But I did think that scene was funny as well. And like I said, you pretty much, with Jackie Chan, his humility, him showing that when it hurts, he gets hurt. If he's trying to be tough, he's like, ow. These little comedic aspects that made him a very likable, lovable persona in these movies. And you really feel sorry for him and easy to root for him. Like these two big guys that enter this place he's staying at, and one takes him and slams him right into the ceiling. And he's just he jumps on this thing in the pool. This Easier said than done, because you could easily fall into the pool. You have to be light on your step to jump on this thing. They dread across the pool, sliding in and out windows. Even little stuff like there's a scene later on where he's got to go down the wall. There's a pipe, there's a wall. But he puts his legs over here, and he's like going down here as he's holding. And you see in the trailer, if you watch the trailer, even bits like that, it's like, okay, how do we make you going down a wall, but it looks cool and unique? That's the way of doing it. And that's what Jackie Chan, he's in the vein of Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, he's a great physical performer. You walk through a door normal, whatever. If you do this and this through a door, now you made that scene memorable. Even if it's not an action scene, it's still something, a little extra spice to make the dish more palatable and taste better. And probably the highlight is the fight he has where he's using tables, he's using brooms, and he's using the ladder. Like one of those, like, what's it, aluminum? Like one of those ladders, steel ladders, and how he's able to flip it up to hit people in the face, turn it, hit people in the leg, put it on his head, twirl it around, go in and out of it. Superb physicality during that scene. Superb physicality. It's a great dance being showcased there. And even the finale where you have this funeral, but it's also a parade, and the bad guys want these guys, and they want the money and all that. And they got the one guy's sister. Jackie's undercover, he's in these stilts. So he's like kicking people's ass while in these stilts. Very interesting image that I haven't seen many times before. And a truck comes and hits the stilts, and he has to flop onto the truck. Even underwater fights are showcased. Close calls with sharks. As well as some humor mixed in there. There's this big guy, he's got a fight, and he slams the guy into a tub, but then there's all these sea urchins on the guy's back. Even one of them on Jackie's leg. Now, it's one of those films that I would not put it, if I think about, I probably did a list, I can't remember where I put it. I would probably put Rumble in the Bronx, Super Cop, Operation Condor, Rush Hour 2. I'd probably put those above Jackie Chan's First Strike. Because, okay, like Rumble in the Bronx, it has a bit more knockdown, drag out fights in it. And there's not a whole lot in this when you really think about it. Other than the ladder sequence. Other than the little brief altercations. Operation Condor, there's definitely a lot more in that third act. I mean, the whole third act with the, what do you call that site? With the wind tunnel, and the way he's fighting, and the one thing's coming down, it barely hits his face. That's probably my favorite finale in any Jackie Chan movie. That's right, Operation Condor. And the search for gold, and treasures. I'm a sucker for that type of stuff. Rush Hour 2, you got him working with Chris Tucker, that rapport. So there's a lot more meat to the story because of that chemistry that they have with each other. Super Cop, the bits he has with Michelle Yeoh, and both of them have their moments to shine. So they have a bit more to it other compared to this. Like I said, the story, the side characters, the villains, they're pretty much a pile of nothing in this movie. The only thing worthwhile are the stunts, those set pieces I mentioned, and Jackie's likability. But as Jackie Chan in his prime, the New Line Cinema version, it's very much shortened to be as fast as it could be. So it's hard to get bored because snaps like that. Pop, 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 pop. And the music, you could tell they use like stop music. Because I swear, like, there's music here I heard in Rumble in the Bronx, and there's music here I've heard in other movies. I'm talking about the New Line Cinema version. So I think they just use like stop music. I've heard this music before. I didn't. They use a Rumble in the Bronx, and I swear other movies too. So I just see some people looking at it going, you know, what's the big deal? But like I said, if you want to see just what Jackie didn't do on his own, his people would go more towards Police Story and various other movies. But again, the bits of humor he showcases here, the bits of humanity he showcases here, and comedy. Again, the ladder sequence, the snowboarding sequence, the little bits here and there he adds. Again, fighting underwater and this dance of trying to get the nozzle into his mouth and kicking these guys, and there's a shark around, avoiding the shark. It's still very memorable, it's still entertaining, and it's still an easy watch. Again, like an hour and 15 or so minutes, boom, there's the goofs and mistakes they made, then the movie's over. It's an easy, watchable entertainment flick. I know that was barely a sentence, but it's fun. It's a fun movie. It's not going to blow people's minds. Yes, in the day of YouTube, you'd probably just watch a couple of these scenes on YouTube and get the full gist of the movie, to be fair. But at least they made the right decision. I think New Line Cinema did of shorten it, make it fast paced. People won't get bored. You see the attraction, like the Harlem Globetrotters. You move along, had a good time. So, and I still had a lot more fun with this compared to like the last couple, like New Police Story and Police Story Lockdown. I did not like at all. I did not like this. I didn't care for them at all. I didn't care for the action sequences in them. I didn't care. Those I felt more of a slow pace. I felt more bored. I was never bored with this movie. Because there's always something happening at least. Or some, you know. So I could appreciate that. So overall, still a fun movie. Still nice to revisit this after for so long. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.